A series of short videos just to break up the transfer window just a little bit. I'll be uploading 2 videos today. This one is about Issa Diop. Later on will be about Areola. What I'm going to do is just look at all the players that are left in the squad, not the ones that are left like Fredericks and Yarmolenko, the players that are still in the squad, and work out what the future holds for them at West Ham United. Just really quick videos, which is why I'll upload a couple every time I do one. So let's start with Issa Diop. Now, Issa Diop finds himself in a very, very strange situation. Issa Diop was bought as potentially the best young up-and-coming central defender in French football. Cast your mind back. He was... there's a magazine, 442. You probably know the magazine. Every season they do a little list of the 8 top up-and-coming youngsters in Europe. He was in there. A few years back, he was in there. He's not an old codger, not by any stretch of the imagination. And you've got to remember, we paid big money for him. When Pellegrini was going around and he'd just come in, that's when we got him, Pellegrini's first season, if I remember it correctly. 23 million, lot of money for West Ham to spend on a centre-back. I know now it doesn't seem as much, but cast your mind back, we weren't spending that sort of money back there. We brought a young, up-and-coming, promising central defender who looked like he was going to be a mainstay of the French team for years and years. Never mind French team, this was the guy that was going to play in the heart of West Ham's defence. We hope for the next 10 years. It's not quite worked out. It's not like he was crap. He was so good when he first joined. It was rumoured that Manchester United were willing to pay £50 million for this player. Jose Mourinho labelled him a monster. A monster. The reason we didn't win today was because West Ham have got a monster of a player at the back, and his name is Issa Diop. Pretty much word for word. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. The trouble is with Issa Diop now is he's not trusted by David Moyes. Not every time Diop came in last season he did well, but there was a bit towards the end of the season. And just remember, if you will, Zuma's out of action. I can't even remember it was because it was the tackle that happened against Brentford. Obviously, Ogbonna was out. And there was a time when Diop came back in, but Diop was injured. So we had a lot. Do you remember? We had everyone injured at the same time, apart from Dawson. And then, by some miracle, we managed to get Diop back quite early. And he played well. Well, he clearly played for injury, but he was good. I mean, you have to go back and look at the player ratings, but he was arguably man of the match in one of the games, played really well in the next game as well. The sort of performances which should allow you to keep your place in the team, he didn't. And he was never going to. Because even when he played out of position on the left-hand side of defence, it didn't matter. In fact, it didn't matter how well, even if Craig Dawson had got a red card and Diop had to come in. Doesn't matter, even if Diop got man of the match, Dawson would be in back for the next game. Got no complaints about Dawson, by the way. Dawson was an excellent player. I'm just saying this to highlight the point that the future for Issa Diop is not particularly rosy. And for that reason, I think we should sell him. Because he is not going to be used. In every sense of the word, he is our 4th choice centre-half. As we understand it, Moyes wants to bring in another centre-half. So he's going to get relegated to 5th choice centre-half. And it's not like he's 4th choice centre-half, but he could work his way back up. No, not at all. He's 4th choice centre-half and he's only dropping down. And I think it's a bit of a shame, because I think the promise is still there. I think the potential is still there. But I think it's fair to say he hasn't reached his potential. I don't particularly think it's his fault. I think had he stayed in the team and been allowed to grow and continue to grow, then things would have been better for him. But you know what? It just hasn't happened. It's as simple as that, really. He's got 1 more year on his contract as well. We either sell him now or we lose him for free. It's rumoured that there are a couple of clubs in Italy who want him. Apparently Olympique Lyonnais were interested in him, and I tell you what, I thought when I first heard they were interested in him, he wasn't in great form, but then if I remember it correctly, did he not play in the second leg against Olympique Lyonnais? I thought he was very good. I certainly thought if they looked at that and thought, actually, we may well be buying this player. He's good enough and he's young enough to attract bids. Are we going to get our £23 million back? No. And looking back in hindsight, it was maybe a little bit of a mistake not to accept the £50 million bid, if that bid were true. But it was certainly interesting. I mean, it's very rare that a manager goes public with his interest in a player. And Mourinho did. And Mourinho then managed Manchester United as well. So, I mean, it was not beyond the realms of possibility that Man United's bid was a real one. Why wouldn't he sanction such a thing? We know he liked him. We knocked it back. And do you know why? I even remember doing the videos at the time. We were saying, no, we might be a little bit less. You know, this is going to be a really, really big player for us. Hasn't happened. And to be fair, it doesn't really matter how well he plays, he's not going to get his place in the team. It is simple as that. He has no future at West Ham. It's a shame for him, because I think he's a nice guy to have around. In terms of the Moyes MOT, he actually passes it. I'm sure he does. You look at any of those pictures, any of that footage that comes from that training ground, there he is, Issa Diop. Always chatting with somebody, clearly knows everybody, clearly everybody likes him. So he's not disruptive at all. You don't ever hear or feel that he's throwing his toys out the pram or spitting his dummy out because he's not playing. No wonder David Moyes says we'd like to keep Issa Diop, but unfortunately we're not that rich a club that we can say just keep him on for another season. You know what? If he's not going to play, we might as well bring someone else in and clear a path for, as I understand it, I think it probably will be Baptiste, because Elise say, well, we'll deal with him in another video. I don't think he's particularly fancied by David Moyes either. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Just little short, snappy ones. I'll do the Areola one later on. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll catch up with you later.